Personal reflection and thoughtful discussions with my family and Mayor Fry, I have made the decision that I will not be accepting a new term as Chief of the Minneapolis Police Department. First and foremost, I want to give my immense thanks to the sworn and civilian members of the MPD and their families for their dedicated professional service and commitment to our residents and business owners. They have served under the most challenging of times in our recent history, and I am forever grateful for their service. To my executive leadership team, I thank them for their tireless and relentless work and focus on improving our organization and its people. And I also want to thank Mayor Fry for his leadership and unwavering support for me and the MPD. Thank you, Mayor Fry. To our city's 420,000 residents, it has been such an honor and humbling privilege to be your public servant for the past 32 years and the past 4.5 as your chief. To my elders in the community, those currently with us and those that have passed, thank you for your wisdom, your guidance, your prayers, your honest feedback, and your invaluable history lessons. For Minneapolis's children and young people, I've seen you and I've heard you over the years. I've kept your dreams, your hopes, and opportunities for a better and brighter tomorrow as a guiding force in my work. You must continue to be at the table and leading discussions on how we as a city can build bridges and create real sustainable progress between the Minneapolis Police Department and our young people. As a hometown kid growing up in Minneapolis, attending public schools here, playing sports at our local parks, and helping my neighbors along the way, I've been blessed beyond measure to have served the people of this truly wonderful city. After 32 years of service, I believe that now is the right time to allow for new leadership, new perspective, new focus, and new hope to lead the department forward in collaboration with our communities. And I am confident that the MPD has the leadership in place to advance this critically important work that lies ahead of us. I plan to retire next month to allow for a smooth transition in order for Mayor Fry to make his considerations and ultimate selection for whom he believes should be our city's next chief of police. I'm looking forward to working with him in that endeavor. I'm looking forward to what my next journey has in store, and I will forever cherish that I was able to serve the people of Minneapolis. And lastly, I leave you with this. What I'm most hopeful of is what has always been the case. Minneapolis's success has never been about an individual. It's about that what's been tried, tested, and true. The collective goodwill, fierce determination, and humanity of its people that has overcome our greatest challenges. The light of our city spirit will shine brighter in the days to come. Thank you very much. Mayor Fry.
On behalf of an entire grateful city, I want to give my deepest thanks and appreciation to Chief Arradondo and his family. Medaria Arradondo has embodied public service, community, and courage throughout 32 years of service in Minneapolis. Throughout his time within the MPD, he has been unabashed about his commitment to truth, to transparency, and to justice. That was true as a young beat officer on the North Side 32 years ago, and it's true today of someone who has instilled procedural justice and has worked tirelessly for reform of a police department. The chief has consistently showed up every single day with integrity. He is someone that is the exact same person before the cameras as he is in private. In sum, he's chock full of integrity. Chief Arradondo is truly a son of Minneapolis. When the people of our city hear the words public service, I think they should think of Chief Arradondo and the work that he has done through thick and thin, through some of the most difficult moments that our city has ever experienced. And this point should not be lost, because it is this legacy of leadership, this commitment to procedural justice, to safety in every single corner of our community that will form not just as Chief Arradondo's legacy, but also as a proper foundation for our next chief. So as Chief Arradondo mentioned, he will be staying on through mid-January of 2022. There will be continuity of safety and service when it comes to these next steps in Minneapolis, and I'll be keeping you all updated as I will be making my decision for interim chief at some point in the coming days, and certainly we plan to do so this week. Again, I'm greatly appreciative of Arradondo's service and all the work that he has done for our city. The partnership has been something that I feel has been so important to me personally, as well as the residents of this city. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that ongoing partnership and friendship. And so with that, we'll open it up to any questions you might have.
Thank you for the question. The question was, how much did the killing of Mr. George Floyd and the aftermath of that, how much did that play into my decision? I took this oath 32 years ago to serve this community. That oath did not say when crisis would occur, or when heartaches or pain would occur, but it said to be ready to give service to my city and to my community. The impacts of Mr. Floyd's killing certainly will stay with me forever. However, that was not, that did not render into my decision at this point. My decision at this point, quite frankly, and certainly you mentioned my family, who are really instrumental in my decision about this here, was just that it's time. 32 years of being able to give back to a city that I was born and raised in is a blessing. Not many individuals get a chance and opportunity to do that. So it's time. I feel very strongly about the leadership that's in place within the MPD. I hear from our communities. There's a will, there's a spirit of willing to go from pain to recovery, and so I think that now is the time to do that. So thank you for your question.
Mayor, can you talk about the timeline? When do you plan to appoint an interim chief, and then what is the process for naming and selecting a permanent replacement for Chief Arradondo?
Of course. So I learned of Chief Arradondo's final decision this morning. Obviously, we've been in conversations over the last couple of months, and I hope to announce an interim chief at some point this week, in the next several days, and we will be moving forward with a national search as well. The chief mentioned that he will be staying on through the end of his term, which is in mid-January. That is the point, I believe, when the interim chief will fully take charge as we move through the recruitment process and national search as well.
And Mayor, can you just remind me, this is something I'm not totally familiar with, how long our terms? Are they 2 years?
3 years. 3 years.
Chief, what were some of the deciding factors in your decision?
The question was, thank you for the question. The question was, what were some of the deciding factors in my decision? I think as chief, you look at the organization. You are always trying to make sure that you're doing your best on behalf of the organization, cultivating leadership, stabilizing the organization, also hearing what the direction the community's in. And so those were some of the factors in it as well. I also think that after 32 years of service, there's also some inward reflection that I have to do, my own personal and professional growth as well. So those were some of the factors that weighed into it.
Do you have any interest or desire to run for public office, maybe the governor of Minnesota?
So the question was, do I have any interest to run for any public office or the governor's position? No. I have utmost respect for those leadership positions, political leadership positions, but no, as I'm open to exploring, not the governor's position, I'm open to exploring what my next chapter will be, but I've not entertained politics at all.
What about
Yeah.
chief positions in other cities or maybe in other states?
The question was, am I entertaining chiefs positions in other cities or other states? No, I am not. And so just full disclosure, no, I do not have a chief's position or another career lined up at this time. And so thank you for that question.
Chief Paul Bloom over here, Fox.
Yes.
I have a question for you. I think you may hear some criticism in some parts of our community that you didn't inform the city before the whole public safety debate was on the ballot just a month ago. Did it take you this long to reach your final conclusion, and would you like to speak at all on why wait till after the voters had a say, and you as a person seems so linked in that public safety discussion in this community?
Yeah, Mr. Bloom. So the question of why there might be criticism of why I waited for.
To make this, you several times on the campaign.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I've been asked, just what's Chief Rondo's plan? We have this public safety question that may reshape the police department going forward. Obviously, you waited until, a month after the election. I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
is that just how long it took you to come to this final decision? Was there just an attempt that you didn't want to be, have your decision impact the vote beforehand? I'm just curious how the.
Yeah, that's a very.
into it.
No, thank you. That's a very good question. So one, I think it's two things. So one, it's personal. The job of chief, you have to be selfless in that, and it has to be selfless service. And so my desire to stay on or my desire to make the decision to leave, that has to be solely grounded in what I feel is best for the organization and our city and the community. There's also this is a very interesting position in and of itself, in that while unlike sheriffs where they're elected positions, I am not an elected official. However, I do report to one. And so there are those that if I speak out, it's going to be viewed politically, which I have done my best to try to stay as neutral as possible in that. And so, no, this, at the end of the day, it's what I feel is best for the department, certainly for my own personal well-being, and so that's really what it was founded on.
And down a third of its staff right now, who's going to want your position? Who's going to want your job?
Well, the question is, who would want this job? I will tell you, Paul, that every day I'm blessed to walk into an office and walk around this city where men and women who wear this uniform are proud. They're proud to serve. And as you know, this city has gone through a lot. When many had thought that all hope was lost, our folks still showed up and they were seen. And no, there are many people that would be proud to take on this responsibility. And I'm honored and blessed to work with them. So, yeah.
It's no secret that the mayor has wanted you to stay and been talking about that for weeks now, suggesting that this might have been a difficult decision, not an easy, quick yes or no decision. How much did you agonize over this, if at all?
So the question was, how much might I have agonized over this, or certainly was it a difficult decision? Well, I will tell you that I'm someone that truly cares about people. And I think that if there are two words or two things that people would use to describe me and hopefully describe my legacy, it's that I cared and I tried. And so I absolutely took to heart when elders in our community were asking me to stay on longer, when rank and file were asking me to stick around longer. Certainly, I will tell you that I probably got to know the mayor more in the last just a few weeks than probably the last 4.5 years. He certainly, and I truly thank you, he certainly wanted me to stay on and serve another term. But at the end of the day, I do believe that it's best. I tell our team up in the office that I'm the 53rd chief. There's no 52 7-foot bronze statues of the previous 52. There won't be one after me. And so this job at the end of the day is never about one individual. It's really about the collective will of all of those who have taken that oath to serve.
Mayor Fry, are you concerned about filling not just, sure there are many qualified applicants in terms of their background, but are you concerned about filling the shoes of somebody who has elders in the community asking to stay, who has a police department that's been to an awful lot, members asking to stay? How concerned are you about filling the intangibles that the chief has brought?
Well, obviously, the chief has brought incredible intangibles that I think few, if any, could provide, especially over the last couple difficult years. And that being said, we do have some extremely talented individuals that I know will be ready to step up and serve, and I can assure everyone in this city that there will be continuity of both safety and leadership in the MPD in the weeks and months ahead.
Mayor Brian, can you talk a little about how you'll go into finding a permanent replacement, and do you think it will be a tough sell given the state of affairs in the city right now?
Well, I think anytime you go through a selection of a new chief, there isn't always a unanimity of opinion, and I'm sure that'll be the case here as well. The first step, of course, is appointing an interim chief that will serve while the national search is going on, and maybe who knows beyond. We want to make sure that we get the best, most talented person that is reform-minded, that is procedural justice-oriented, and wants to ensure the safety of every resident throughout our city. This is a responsibility that I will take very seriously. We're still working out the exact framework as to how the national search will look and how it will be conducted.